Good morning. I would like to talk a bit more about how older adults embrace self-assessments about mental health, safety and well-being. As most people already know, is that the older population increases and population aging is a fact. This is shown in this figure. For example, it shows that by 2020, the number of older people in Europe will have increased by 10%, and by 2050, this will even be more, almost 28%. So nations are looking for a way to improve the quality of care, but at the same time, we also need to reduce the healthcare costs, and the cost effectiveness of services needs to be improved as well. One way of doing this is by letting the older person live at home for as long as possible, which we call aging in place. This is also an improvement. This is an improvement because it is less expensive to keep the older adult at home than transferring him or her to a nursing home, but it is also an improvement for the older adult himself or herself because they can age in a healthy way in an environment they know. We want to assist this by telemonitoring and self-assessments. Telemonitoring means that you are going to measure vital parameters through sensors. For example, you can measure your heart rate, and this will be shown in an application where the person can monitor himself how it is with his well-being. Self-assessments, on the other hand, are questionnaires that the person can fill out in order to get their risks about well-being and how they are doing. Nowadays, this is done by a caregiver, and we want to do this by the older adults themselves, so self-assessments. This is actually what we were trying to do with the Grace Age project. The Grace Age project aims to design a self-assessment tool to detect the risks of older adults. And here before they used the GRIST tool. Here you see all the topics that GRIST uses. So for example, we have state of mind, we have involvement with life and others, life journey, and then there are questions stated which the persons can answer. This is an example of the screen where you see the questions, and then you have to rate it on a scale from 0 to 10, whether it's not applying for you or it applies. And once you've filled out the entire questionnaire, there comes a score which says where you have to take care of and what risks probably need more attention. So we know that theoretical, with the technological advancements, it is possible to make such a platform or a tool where you can combine telemonitoring and self-assessments. But what we not know is how the older adults embrace these assessments. What do they think of it? And therefore we conducted a focus group. A focus group is a qualitative interview where participants 4 to 15 are invited to discuss their opinions about a service or a product, and this is moderated by one moderator, and they state their behaviors, how they think about it, and what they want to add to make the product better. Our focus group consisted of 6 participants. They were recruited via Innovage, and Innovage is an organization that wants to be the bridge between engineers and the facilitations that the institutions that facilitates older care. So they want to combine that. They got us 6 participants, 4 women and 2 men, who were all older than 65 years old, and the mean age was 78 years. All participants lived independent at home, or they were in a service flat, but they were still able to take care of themselves. And then we asked those participants about what they thought about self-assessment. And these 5 topics came up. I will discuss each topic by using a quote that was stated in the focus group. So self-reliance. Self-reliance is something we see as in what way is the other person able to still take care of himself and do things himself without needing a third party. And as one person stated, I still live at home alone and I hold it all together, but I experience that some things become more difficult as I get older. You don't want it, but eventually you become dependent on others. So self-reliance is something that keeps playing in the minds of the older adults, and they want to do as much as possible themselves. Another topic was the social contact. That was actually a very important topic for them, as we know that for older adults it becomes often hard to be in social interactions, as they can't go out, they can't ride a bike or a car, and so they get sometimes isolated. What a person stated here was, that is why I eat here. So at a cafeteria, we all eat together, so at least it isn't a dialogue with the deaf. This was a person who lived in a service flat, and it was important for her to meet, and actually the dinner or the lunch was a social event where they could talk to each other and weren't alone in their room. A third topic that was mentioned were the financial means. At first sight, this does not seem directly related to mental health or health in general, but it has to be, life has to be affordable in order to take care of that. You can provide what you need to give them good well-being or help them. And all our participants agreed that with this quote, I think that we, the seniors, have to pay too much. With only our pension, we can't afford much. So they discussed extensively, actually, that their pension was too low and that they needed to live with it, but that it wasn't that easy. But unfortunately, that's not something I can change. So the next topic was a healthy diet. Our participants found it important that the nutrition was healthy. And someone said, many people think that older people only like to eat meat. We get too much meat and not enough vegetables. There should be more fruit and vegetables. So there should be a misunderstanding. People can't cook for themselves, so they just have to eat what is served to them in the cafeteria. And actually they said that they didn't choose themselves for not eating healthy because they don't get to choose this. And then when we go to the last topic, it was about active leisure. This wasn't discussed at length, but it was rather coupled to the social activity. As you can read in the last quote, I joined the walking club, I'm staying active, but I'm also among other people and you can make new friends, and I like that. So doing activities or sports together is rather important for them because it's a social interaction with others instead of staying in a good shape or remaining healthy. Then we now know what other people find interesting or important to pick up in a self-assessment scale, but we also want to give some guidelines about how to make such a self-assessment scale. And I want to start with what you not need to do with a self-assessment scale. So some questions in the scale were rather negative. They were about feeling vulnerable, not looking after yourself. So one important tip is don't be so negative. They're not that. They just want to monitor themselves. So effort should be made to focus more on their capabilities and what they can still do in order of focusing on their decline, what healthcare professionals often tend to do. And yeah, in that order, we also prevent the gloomy perspective that was given to these questions. For example, you can transform the questions. You could say, are you feeling sad? Or you could say, are you feeling happy? Both are measuring from 0 to 10, from very sad to very happy, but when you pronounce it, are you feeling happy, it gives another representation than when you use the word sad. That's a simple example. Then a second guideline is be specific. A lot of questions that are used in these assessment scales are for healthcare professionals. So for example, the question, do you suffer from physical health problems that affect your mobility and or dexterity? This is a very vague question. People need to think about it. What does it mean? How do I need to interpret it? Instead of, if you use the question, can you still tie your own shoelaces? This is much more applicable because you can visualize something and you know, oh, I can or I can't do this anymore, and you have also the measurement on the dexterity that you can or can't do. So our guideline is to improve the questions for self-assessment instead of taking those difficult questions. And one way of doing this can be by focusing on ADLs, that are activities of daily living. So when you use these in your questions, it is more simple for people to imagine something and they know what is meant with it, and they know whether they can or can't do it. So some ADL activities are regarding eating, bathing, transferring, walking, and so on. And then to wrap up, I would also like to finish with a quote, and that is this one. We want to die young as late as possible by Ashley Montague. And actually, I think that's a good fit with this presentation. As people are still in a good shape, they still want to remain healthy. They want to be as young as possible, or at least they want to be young at heart. Thank you.